Episode 2, Bitcoin Begins. Part 2, the blockchain. Recorded 22nd of October, 2019.
This is Bitcoin Basics Podcast with your host Faris, that's me, and Gordon from Coin Compass. We're Bitcoin advisors and educators supporting business and individual investors to safely buy, manage, and control their private keys, Bitcoins. Visit coincompass.com for more information. This podcast is strictly educational and is not intended to be financial or investment advice. Full disclaimer in the show notes and at the end of this episode.
So the blockchain. Now this is a great video that just explains the blockchain.
For those who are listening and not watching, the following blockchain video will be linked in the show notes of this podcast.
That makes sense? That's one of the best videos I've seen that explains the blockchain, and ironically, it's put together by a bank. So in essence, what the blockchain is, think of a spreadsheet, a ledger. It is distributed in that it is not housed on a single computer. Anyone here ever used Google Docs, where you're sharing a document with someone somewhere else? Similar process. The blockchain will record Bitcoin transactions, and what happens is everyone who's connected to the blockchain, and you're connected by a computer, you get updated that copy around the world. So what that means is if I've got a computer in Mapua connected to the blockchain, someone in Nigeria does, someone in Cambodia, we're downloading this ledger at the exact same time. So if I go offline, not a problem, someone else has it. So long as one computer is still running, that blockchain, that ledger gets updated. It's just like writing in a ledger, a three-tier ledger, transactions that took place. It is online and anyone can join in. You can tonight get your computer, plug it in, download the ledger, and start running what's called a Bitcoin node, which basically means you are now part of the blockchain. So you can see every transaction that goes through, every address, and we'll actually show you how it works. All right. So first of all, the key thing to understand is the difference between centralized and distributed. A bank is called a single attack vector. Chase Manhattan Bank, a lot of money there. A hacker would go, okay, I just need to get in there. If I get in there, what do I have? I have everyone's, what does your bank know about you? Your address, your full name, your date of birth, where you live, how much money you have, your transaction history. That is in one mainframe. That's called a single attack vector. A hacker just needs to get in there. He's got all those details. With a distributed ledger, he would need to hack into every single person on the blockchain at the same time. It would cost billions of dollars per minute in computing power. The blockchain has been around for 10 years. It is now so strong that you would actually need every government in the world to collude together to basically get in to hack it and reverse transactions. That's how powerful it is, because anyone around the world can join in. Does that make sense? The blockchain is the most difficult thing to understand. Does this make sense between centralized and distributed or decentralized? Yeah? This is the hardest part to understand, so if you have any questions, someone else has it.
It got hacked a wee while ago, didn't it?
Exchanges get hacked. The blockchain hasn't been hacked, but exchanges get hacked. So an exchange is a bank. It's where you buy your Bitcoins. So let's say you want to buy Bitcoins from me, but we are in different places in the world. We will go to a website that would allow us to transact. So Mt. Gox is the most famous one. So we go to Mt. Gox, you would put your fiat currency, your New Zealand dollars in Mt. Gox, and I would sell you my Bitcoins. My Bitcoins I've sold you are still in Mt. Gox. This is where many people lose their Bitcoins. They think, I bought Bitcoin, and I'd ask them, where is it? What do you mean? You bought it from where? This website. Where is it? It's still with the exchange. So it's the equivalent of an ATM getting robbed because you haven't removed those Bitcoins into a cold storage device. So Bitcoin by removing it, what are you doing? You're removing a code. It's a series of letters and numbers. You can remove them as simply as writing them on a piece of paper, putting it in a book and hiding it in your house. You put it on your phone, and then you can send them somewhere else. But this is where people lose their Bitcoins. They say, I bought Bitcoins, but you left it with the person you bought it from, which is a third-party exchange. They get hacked. They were designed to get hacked because it's just like hacking a bank. They're not holding money, they're holding something more valuable, Bitcoins. So that's how most people lose their Bitcoins. Exchanges get hacked, not the blockchain. What you've done is you have left your Bitcoins, which is a series of letters and numbers, with someone else. Now that person, remember, ownership is 100%. That person, it's known to happen. The CEO can just go, oh, I'm just taking all my clients' Bitcoins, and he'll disappear. You can't get them because people thought I bought Bitcoin. You did buy them, but you don't own them because you haven't removed them from the third-party exchange. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does.
Do you have to store it on a cold storage device? Can you store it on your PC?
You can store it anywhere. We like cold storage devices because a PC can crash. Piece of paper can burn. You can actually get a cold key, which basically what it does is it's like what tags, like what the military used to wear, and it's basically just printed on a cold metal card. So this is what we do. We kind of show you if you're going to have a lot of Bitcoins, you don't have them in just one area. We like these cold storage devices because they've got passwords, they've got really good backup solutions, and you can have your backup solution somewhere separate. So if you buy gold, you don't leave it in your neighbor's vault. That's what these exchanges are. People just leave their Bitcoins with someone else, and they don't comprehend that, yeah, you bought Bitcoin, but you haven't removed it.
These things are so little, it's just like you losing a USB.
It is. And if you lose it, there's a way of backing it up, and there's a way of regenerating what's on it. So for example, what you do, if I buy Bitcoin today, I'll write it down on a piece of paper, and I just leave it in a safe place. Well, 20 years from now, if I die, you want to make sure that you tell people where your Bitcoin, that's called a private key, where they are. So my grandson can go, he goes, okay, my very smart great-grandfather bought Bitcoin at $12,000, it's now worth $400,000. What he just does is he will just type in those keys and it regenerates them. So it's basically just putting gold in a vault. It's not being used, and then you give someone a key to the vault, they take it out. It's called cold storage because it's offline. So even though the transaction's been recorded, you're not using those Bitcoins. So having Bitcoin on your mobile phone is kind of like walking around with cash in your wallet. Convenient, but not safe. Bitcoin on a cold storage device is like burying gold in your backyard and safe. Not convenient, but it's very safe. So these devices, you wouldn't carry those around with you. You're kind of showing people, I've got Bitcoin and potentially a lot of it. So those devices you would hide. You put in a safe somewhere. And you'd have a separate backup in a separate location.
Even though you write down those numbers and letters, how do you get it then off the website that you purchased it from? How do you take it off their website?
So this has an address. So Bitcoin, think of email. So people would know your email address. You just give them your email address. It doesn't mean they have access to your inbox. So with Bitcoin, you've got what's called a public address, which is a series of letters and numbers, but you've also got your private address. Your public address is like your email address. Your private key, that unlocks your wallet, which is like the password to your email. Now, if someone gets access to your email password, think of what they can do with that. They can hack into pretty much anything. So what you would do is you say, if your Bitcoin is on an exchange, you would log in, you would transfer those Bitcoins onto here. This has its own address. So it's going from there to here. So it's just like sending mail from one email address to another. To get it out of this, that's where you need your private key, which is like logging into your email address and typing in your password. Did I answer that?
Yep.
So, just so that when you buy a Bitcoin,
Yep.
it may be 1,000 Indian dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you send that money? And how do you know whether you receive a Bitcoin legitimately or is this a bogus?
So we actually do recommend certain exchanges to go to, and with those, you can buy your Bitcoin immediately. You can, with some, you can do credit card. Some, it takes a bit longer using Swift banking system. It depends what you want to do, how much Bitcoin you want to buy. But we put out a newsletter every month where we recommend methods of storage, and we recommend wallets on your phone, which I'll show you later. And we also recommend specific exchanges to go to. Yeah. Any other questions about this one?
So you've got that's your little vault, right?
Yep.
That's your buried in the thing, but you can take bits out and put it on your.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've got access to.
Yeah. You wouldn't do it with this. So what this is think like your vault. So every time you use this, the address on this thing is going to show up on the blockchain. I'll show you. So what we're going to do is, it's kind of like looking in the Matrix. We're going to watch the blockchain live. So this is the actual blockchain live. Now, this is the Bitcoin blockchain. There's different blockchains out there. So a block, so what we're seeing here is these are transactions going through. They go through on average every 10 minutes. So if I were to send Mike, say, just $20 in Bitcoin to say, no, this is for my beers tonight, and Dave was to send Andy a few minutes from now, $100 worth in Bitcoin. Those transactions get lumped. So you're not going to, the blockchain only allows certain transactions to go through it at once. So every 10 minutes on average, you get a whole bunch of transactions going through. So those transactions will be lumped. So what we're seeing here is we've had, in this block, 821 transactions of 2,000 Bitcoins. So that one went through 18 minutes ago, that one 7 minutes ago, that one 5 minutes ago. So that's, and what we're seeing is here, it actually shows you, if you went into it, it can show you the addresses they went from. So if I'm sending a lot of Bitcoin from here, that would go, okay, this address has a lot of Bitcoin in it. So if you're storing your Bitcoins, you wouldn't use this often to be sending Bitcoins back and forth. You would have a different wallet where you go, I'm only going to keep, half a Bitcoin on my phone, and that's where I use this wallet to send to people. This is the equivalent of your big gold bar. You keep this buried. You keep it secure. You don't use it. You don't need opening it up a lot. So with this, we're actually seeing live transactions on the blockchain. So once a block goes through, that is settled. So in essence, it's kind of like, think of a house. You buy the house, but the settlement period is not for 60 days. With the blockchain, it's settled in 10 minutes. It cannot be reversed. Once a transaction goes through, it's irreversible. It's set in stone.
What's the idea of the box?
Sorry?
What's the idea of the square box?
Yeah, so the reason it's called a blockchain is because transactions go through in blocks and they're chained together, one on top of the other. So one of the analogies I've heard is, think of a fly that lands on a tree and a layer of amber comes through. So that layer of amber going over the fly can still get out of there. So that's your first confirmation. So what I mean by confirmation is, if I send Mike some Bitcoins, now what I'm actually doing is I'm sending him half a mathematical equation. Have you guys seen The Imitation Game? It explains the German Enigma machines. And everyone familiar with those? So this was basically a machine that the Germans used in World War II. And it's when the Brits broke this machine, it actually is what helped them win the war. So the way they sent codes was, you had this machine, you would type your message. This message would go through 3 rollers. The first roll would jumble the message, second roll would jumble it again, third roll would jumble it again. So if you caught the message, it made no sense. What you needed was the same machine calibrated to the same code. So someone in Berlin would send a message to a submarine commander, and the message looked like nothing. He would put the message through his code break, his code machine, and it would reverse it. Bitcoin works the same way. I would send, my Bitcoin is actually sending a mathematical equation. Now, computers that are connected in, so I said you can connect into the blockchain, your computer is working hard to break that equation. So it goes, okay, Faris is trying to send Mike Bitcoin, I see the equation, the computers are set to basically break the equation. If your computer breaks it, you go, okay, I found the solution. You would then need 6 or 7 more computers to confirm that. Go, yes, I've confirmed it. Yours was the first computer to break it. You get rewarded the highest amount of fees. Yours was a second, you get a bit less in fees. Third, fourth, so forth. So basically what they're saying is, a Bitcoin transaction is not settled until you've got at least, it used to be 7 confirmations, now it's only 2 that you need because the blockchain is so big. So with the analogy of a flying amber, that first amber is the first computer that confirms the transaction. Second layer of amber, second computer confirming the transaction. Normally by the time you actually get your Bitcoin, it's had 2,000 confirmations. That fly is not going anywhere. That transaction is set. It cannot be reversed. If you understood that, you understood more than 99% of the people that heard about Bitcoin or blockchain. Now, does that make sense, that analogy? Because if I can come up with a better one, let me know. All right, so that was a blockchain line. Now, this is transactions per day. So right now, Bitcoin's averaging around 400,000 transactions per day. So nothing compared to Visa, MasterCard, and anything else. But as you can see, it's trending upwards. Bitcoin is very volatile, but it's very volatile on the way up.
Thanks for watching or listening. Please visit coincompass.com/free to register to our socials and discover other free content. Subscribing, liking, and following helps this content remain ad-free. Until next time.
Disclaimer. Any content provided by Coin Compass or the Bitcoin Basics podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not investment, legal, tax, or any other professional advice. A qualified professional should be consulted before making any financial decisions. Coin Compass or the Bitcoin Basics podcast will at times recommend certain products, services, and technologies, but these are opinions based upon our own or podcast guests' experience and not endorsements. We take no liability for out-of-date or inaccurate information, software bugs, manufacturing errors, technology misuse, or issues involving third parties. Visit coincompass.com for more information and please contact us.